Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Inside Elections. Today is Friday, February 14th, 2026, and today we are going to be talking about this absolutely breaking news coming out of the state of Virginia that has the potential to completely rock the 2026 midterms in favor of the Democratic Party. So now what this news is that the Virginia Supreme Court has just allowed Democrats in the state of Virginia to go through with redistricting, to go through to gerrymander the state of Virginia to create 4 extra seats for the Democratic Party in the state of Virginia. So now you might say, okay, well, okay, so what? It's Supreme Court allows it. They're going to do it anyway. So what? The Supreme Court was always going to vote for this because it's Virginia. They have a Democratic Supreme Court, right? No, not whatsoever on both of those counts. A couple weeks ago, the a small court in the state of Virginia ruled that the Virginia redistricting, that I'm sure you know what's happening if you're watching this video, but the Virginia state legislature is attempting to redistrict the state of Virginia for the Democratic Party to fight back against Republican redistricting, Republican gerrymandering nationwide. And a small court ruled that this redistricting was illegal, that they were not allowed to do this. This happened, when was this? January 27th, 2026. They, a small, I think it was an appeals court, circuit court, sorry, ruled that Democrats did not follow the right procedure to approve the constitutional amendment that would allow this redraw. And to their credit, I thought this was going to work. I thought this was going to stop the Virginia Democrats from redistricting the state of Virginia dead in its tracks. I believe that. Now, yes, many people on the Democratic side did not believe that. They believed that the Supreme Court was going to overturn it, which props to them. I did not think the Supreme Court was going to do this. And you might say, why? It's Virginia. They have a Democratic Supreme Court. They don't. They do not. The Supreme Court in the state of Virginia is not favorable to the Democratic Party. Now, yes, this Supreme Court is made up of nonpartisan justices. Technically, on paper, all these justices are not Republicans nor Democrats. They are nonpartisan. They are supposedly impartial, which, I mean, not supposedly, they are impartial after reading this verdict. However, this is a Republican-controlled Supreme Court. This is a Supreme Court in the state of Virginia that leans conservative. 5 of the 7 justices on the Supreme Court were appointed by Republicans when Republicans had power in the state of Virginia. When the General Assembly, which is how Virginia elects its Supreme Court justices, the General Assembly votes on these justices, and 5 of these were appointed when Republicans had control of had control of the General Assembly. They had control of the governor's mansion because, as you know, probably know, in 2021, Virginia elected a Republican, Glenn Youngkin, in the state of Virginia. Now, yes, of course, in 2025, Democrats flipped that seat by 17 points. They ended up winning it by over 15 points. So now, as these term limits come up, which is going to take a long time because the next justice up is in 2027, which I'm actually not sure if Kelsley is a Democratic or a conservative alliance Supreme Court justices. I believe he's a Democratic aligned justice. I'm not sure. The point is that this is a Republican conservative leaning Supreme Court, and they just ruled in favor of the Democratic Party to say that Democrats are allowed to move forward with gerrymandering, with redistricting the state of Virginia. And the reason this is so important is because Virginia was doing this in preemptive response to Florida and in response to Republicans nationwide. Florida is looking to redistrict the state of Florida for the Republican Party. And what Virginia just did, and now that the Supreme Court is allowing this, they're going to move forward. The 10-0 map that Virginians are proposing is going to go through no matter what. It's going to. This is the map. The Virginia map used to be a very fair map. I guess it technically is right now. It's the most fair map in the country. Democrats have 6 seats to Republicans 5 seats. Democrats win the state routinely, but not by large margins. They barely win it by roughly 5, 10, 15, usually less than 15 points, usually 5, 10 points, which makes sense. They have 1 more seat of representation than Republicans. It is a very fair map. However, they just made it unfair in response to Republicans making their maps unfair, and specifically making Florida soon to be unfair. Florida is attempting to redistrict 3 to 5 seats out of the state of Florida. I mean, show this. They're trying to redistrict 3 to 5 seats, of course, at state Florida. They're trying to gerrymander Orlando, Tampa, and Miami to this would be 5 seats. This would reduce Democratic representation in the state of Florida to 3 of the 28 seats. When Democrats routinely get 40% of the vote in the state of Florida. The good news for Democrats is that even if Republicans do this, when Republicans do this, they're going to do it. Now that Virginia is redistricting for the Democratic Party, it does not matter. The gains Florida Republicans are going to gain in the state of Florida, it doesn't mean anything because they're canceled out by the state of Virginia. And let me show you exactly how this works, because this all started in the state of Texas. Texas redistricted at the request of Donald Trump to give Republicans 5 seats in the state of Texas, and they did so. And soon Missouri followed, and North Carolina followed. They redistricted seats to go to the Republican Party to gerrymander and steal the midterms because they knew that they are going to lose the midterms in 2026. However, Democrats did not sit back and let this happen. They redistricted with Proposition 50 in the state of California. They won a court case in the state of Utah, which gives them the safe district, and they're going through an ongoing case in the state of New York to gain them an extra seat in the state of New York, we actually have some news out of here as well. The Republicans are trying to appeal this decision that gives Democrats an extra seat in the state of New York, but we'll see how that goes. As of right now, Democrats are favored in New York, and this is where the map stands at this moment. 7-7. The gerrymandering war is not leading anybody to come out ahead. It is 7-7. However, with this news of Virginia, Democrats are going to gerrymander these 4 seats out of the state of Virginia. These 4 seats are going to flip from the Republican Party. Let me go back to Virginia. These 4 seats are going to flip from the Republican Party but to the Democratic Party, which gives them Democrats an advantage, 11-7 in the redistricting war that Republicans began. Now, yes, this is not going to be long-lived because, of course, Republicans are going to gerrymander the state of Florida. Let me do this. 1, 2. It depends how many seats they're going to go for. They could go conservatively and go with 3, which nothing would happen. They would just net 3 seats. So be it. However, if they did that, they would come out behind by 1 seat in the redistricting war that they began in the state of Texas. So say they go for 5 seats. If they went for the 5 and they somehow pulled it off, if they went for 5 seats, they would pull it off. However, if those seats would stay red, that's up for another story because, as I said before, Democrats are already severely underrepresented in the state of Florida. They routinely get over 40% of the vote in the state of Florida, yet are reduced down to 8 congressional seats of the 28 in the state of Florida. If Republicans gerrymander 5 seats out of Florida, just because on paper they're going to go to the Republican Party does not mean they're actually going to go to the Republican Party, because these Democratic votes, this 40% of Florida, which is millions of people, these people's Democratic votes do not go away. They're just spliced into Republican districts. So all these districts that they're being gerrymandered around, they're going to narrow up. They're going to become very narrow. These Miami districts are going to become narrow. The districts around Orlando and Tampa, and there is a chance that Democrats flip back some of these seats. They narrowly flip back some of these seats that Republicans gerrymandered away from them because well, you can't just reduce 40% of the state. You can't disenfranchise millions of voters and expect them to sit idly and expect it to come out entirely your way. So say they go for 5 seats. There's a chance that they don't get 5 seats. There's a chance that they lose these seats. And that could bring them down to how do I put this? That could bring their total from redistricting down from what they would have gotten if they went conservatively and they went for, say, 2 or 3 seats in the state of Florida. The same exact thing goes in the state of Texas. They went for 5 seats. However, it is by no means a guarantee that they get 5 seats in the state of Texas, because let's see. What map should we do? Take this. Is it this map? Sorry, no, this map. This is the districts that they drew. They drew this. We'll take this district. Texas is 28th. A Democrat currently represents it. However, they drew this district to be Trump plus 10. Like I said, a Democrat currently represents this district in the state of Texas. It was a R. It was a not R, a D plus 6 district. They drew it to be R plus 10. However, this is a Hispanic majority district, and Hispanic voters shifted overwhelmingly to the right in 2024, and we're seeing many signs, whether it be special elections or polls or regular elections like in Virginia and New Jersey, these Hispanic voters are shifting back to the left. So, in my opinion, I think there's a very, very, very real possibility that this district actually stays blue, that stays for the Democratic Party. And it's not just that district. Same thing goes for, let me see, I think it's, yeah, Texas is 34th. They drew it to be Trump plus 10.1, when in 2024 it was D plus 2. It's a Hispanic a district with a high Hispanic population that we could very well see Republicans gerrymandering fail in the state of Texas to lose this seat. So, and we can keep going on. I could go on with more in Texas. I could go on more with Florida. The point is, this redistricting war is not looking great for the Republican Party. And this Virginia Supreme Court decision backs that up. What do you think? What are your thoughts on this? Do you think this is good for the Democratic Party? What do you think? I encourage you to comment your thoughts on this video, and comment video ideas, comment video suggestions. I encourage you to like this video, to subscribe to my YouTube channel because I upload elections every single day. Turn on notifications so you can see when I do that. And yeah, have a great day.